Hey everyone, welcome back to DOK. Just got a couple more casual replays today, these ones between Moose and MarchWaden, so I'm really excited to check them out. He says it's a sizable amount of games, that's the name of the zip file. This reminds me, I never cast those games that Phoenixio wanted me to, but I didn't really want to, so... Because I imagine he just wins with support cruises in some stupid fashion. Anyway, here we are on Firebase Krill, though. It's just gonna be, like, this isn't a series or anything, but there's... How many are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games here between Moose and MarchWaden, so I'm really excited to see how they play out. These two players, obviously, like, fairly new to the scene is what's really interesting about it, but they're already pretty solidly top tier. These guys in Group A, because they reached the semifinals of the last tournament, and they look to do the same this time. I think Moose has to fight No Fun. I think he'll probably be able to win there, and then MarchWaden has to fight... I can't remember who, actually. Maybe it's Cookies, right? Let me check this out, actually, on the Battlefy page. But yeah, so I'm just interested to see how these two players fare against each other. I believe in the group stage, Moose had won 2-0, didn't he? Let me actually check out this replay here. Yeah, he did. But MarchWaden's very, how do I say? He kind of got a little bit discouraged, I thought, from like the last game, but then he, or from the last tournament, that is, from JC7. But like, since he's kind of come back into things, the last couple days, he's been really improving rapidly once again, so he could definitely win this. It's just, you know, remains to be seen. Let me check the upper rack, though. Who does he face up against? Yeah, he's gonna face up against Cookies, as long as he beats Let's Rock, but I think he will. Should beat Cookies, too, and then he has his best of 5 against A-Game, but realistically, these players should be in Group A once again next tournament as well, unless something really funny happens. LAV Fab coming up from Moose now, as he has gone up onto SC first here, drops the probe also. I do like to see that, of course. Getting the probe after LAV Fab is the right way to do this. As for MarchWaden, looks like he does want to go for some kind of aggro here. It is going to be Railgun Fab. Okay, so it looks like he will go in for a Rail Rush. He's got 2 guys on RUs though, and this is something kind of interesting. I used to always put 1 on RUs, 1 on CUs, and then flip him to 2 CUs if I was getting a second PC, and then 2 RUs if I was getting heavy rails. But the cost of things has changed, and with the Sandskimmer production time going down a bit, I find myself just always leaving these guys on CUs instead. It's going to be AV Fab, by the way, coming up from Moose here. Now, he does see that skim in the middle. He sees the base runner. Probably thinking this is not going to be a rush then. AV Fab makes a lot of sense in that case. It's going to allow him to harass the Sandskimmers, just get a bit of pressure on the field, but he will find pretty soon that he is in fact getting rail rushed here. Probe comes out, finds this carrier on its own. Now ref mode should be done already if he was going to go for it. So I think Moose already has the info that he needs, but he also is going to be able to check the tech here. As indeed the railgun module is opening up right now. A couple skins chilling on top of a targeting jammer, it's a little funny. But I like this from MarchWaden. He's just getting a little bit of pressure everywhere, just kind of making his opponent sweat just a bit. And then his rush proper will come in just a moment. It's always interesting when people keep the Space Runner, but I think it can definitely work for him, because he'll have a lot of extraction going on here. And that means if we do transition into a mid-game, his carrier will be pretty useful as well. These Sandskimmer's having a really hard time killing that targeting jammer. I mean, the real thing here is, like, sometimes you don't care, right? It doesn't matter that that targeting jammer is there, but he really wants to kill it, I suppose. Anyway, the probe sees the railgun, so MarchWaden hasn't revealed that PC, but he should know, should Moose, what is going on here. Also, that's a touch awkward, this skim actually getting hit by the LAV, but it's not shooting back because he doesn't have the range. Glass drone just hiding back in the pit here. Now, for some reason, the ALM is picking it up on the contact radius, like, because that's what it does. But he doesn't know what that is, so this is kind of a cool play also. But he does get that first artifact out. Heavy rail is hitting the support cruiser. And Moose probably wants to drive up here with the base runner and drop a targeting jammer on it. But this is really quite annoying. It's not... Oh, okay, this is actually quite good for Moose. Yeah, but MarchWaden skims are going to come up, and using that Sunder, they're going to maybe capitalize on this AV here. That railgun going to get another shot on it. But the smoke is good here for Moose. But the real question is, like, where's that base runner? Here we go. Targeting jammer finally going to be deployed here. But at this point, he probably just wants to put it on that assault rail. It is going to be up on that high ground, though. Another smoke here could save this AV. It is deployed. Very nicely done. Oh, and this heavy rail gets out with 5 HP. That is so close. AV's here, though, going to chunk out this assault rail, and all of a sudden, things looking a little grim for MarchWaden. He probably should win against AVs here, but he's not quite able to deal with him, as you can see. So one AV does go down, though. Yeah, but where's the follow-up here? This PC is probably just gonna get hunted down. This will probably be the game, actually, for Moose. I looked so good at the start, but just a little bit of bad control, and all of a sudden these AVs just jumping on top of him. I've got to say, these high ground positions can often be a bit of a trap for railguns, because if they have to back up at all, they can't shoot anymore, so like they don't kite terribly well. You do get high ground, but you'd also get it from being like up on here, so... I certainly learned this back in my days of rail rushing on Fire-based Krill, but sometimes it's actually not the best to use those high ground positions. Now MarchWaden could also power up the mobility support a little bit higher here. He's got ref mode on the way, second PC is building his wall. But this PC should die. Ugh, excuse me. I snoze. Is that the past tense of sneeze? Yeah, but this PC not going to get out of here, of course. Down it goes. That probably should be the end of the game for MarchWaden, but I mean, you know, he may stick in here and see what he can get done. The problem, of course, is just that fighter and gunship is going to follow. It always does in these cases. Production upgrade already on the way, so Moose knows what he's doing. And yeah, if he deals with the fighter and gunship by getting missile ship fab right away, he's just going to die to these AVs and vice versa. So this is not really a good position to be in at all. And Moose, of course, now the one with the extraction pressure. But this is a bit of a good lesson in how to follow up if you kill a PC like that, right? Going for air, always a good call. And then just try and like keep up the pressure as much as you can. Keep hitting your opponent, because his main weakness right now is that he doesn't have, you know, any army production, right? So if you let him build up, you know, you give him a chance to get back in the game. That, and you can go for more economy, but it's usually best to just try and smash him if he's below on like one PC like this. So yeah, we do have strike fighters and gunships being built. That's exactly what he wants to be doing. And like I said, there's really no right move for MarchWaden, but he should get missile ship fab, I guess. I mean, it's not really a winning position though. So, but he wants to stick in. He hasn't surrendered yet, so he seems to believe. You know what they say? No one is ever damned for believing too much. This game, though, definitely gonna be over once Moose hits with the air units, though. These AVs coming in too, this is obviously going to be nice also. In fact, the AVs could like push here on their own, but see, that's what I'm saying, like even if MarchWaden could build a force to fight against like the ground, yeah, this air just comes in and wrecks him. And in fact, Moose is kind of sleeping on it right now. He really just can come in here with this gunship and just smack down these railguns. Yeah, there we see it. Strike fighter gonna get in here as well. It actually hits the assault rail, but the splash damage causes it to hit the heavy too, so that's kind of nice for him. Bit of convenient synergy there. Gunship may actually go down if he's not careful, Moose. No, it looks like he will get this out of here. Ooh. Actually, I think it was gonna die, but it doesn't matter because MarchWaden's gonna surrender. And that is the right move. He's gonna lose a second PC here not too long after this, right? So, I mean, there's nowhere to go from there. So, yeah, MarchWaden definitely sees the writing on the wall. He will choose to surrender. Let's jump into game 2. That was a cool hold, though, from, that was a cool hold from Moose. It was like... How do I say? It wasn't what we're used to seeing, right? Where you try and spam with the LAV and then try and beat your opponent with just like the Superior numbers, because he didn't know it was going to be a rail rush. So he comes in with the AVs instead, but like it just came down to who controlled the units better, and Moose had it. That was really fun to see. Oh, look at this. MarchWaden playing Galzian now. That's actually interesting, because like Torin Crater, this is the map where you'd expect he would want to be Conif most of all, right? Oh well, game 2 looks like going to be on Torin Crater, as I said. We've got one on RUs here, base for no retire. This is probably AAV rush. Switches his faction quite often. Yeah, I guess so. It's interesting because, like, obviously you can't do it in series, but in group stage games you'll notice him do that quite a bit, I think, right? I'm kind of blanking now on what exactly happened in the other group stage matches of Group A, but I believe he was flipping between Conef and Galzian quite a bit, wasn't he? I don't think I've ever seen him play Coalition, really, though. Or at least, you know, not, like, seriously. Maybe a couple times. Well, I take it back. This is actually SC first from Moose. He does have that base runner retire, though. LAV Fab gonna come out now. And he's going to move his carrier, it looks like, onto this base here, close to his opponent's extract. I actually I like that move, like, going toward this side of the field a lot, because obviously, oh wait, he played Coalition against you. Oh. Anyway, I like that move going to this side of the field quite a lot, because you're going to go SC first, which is kind of a low-tempo move, so you want to control your opponent's extract, and it looks like MarchWaden's doing the same thing. And the thing is, though, I would actually, yeah, there we go, I'd move the SC over to that side, because if you move the carrier here, then when you go to fill out your third base, it's, like, further away, so... But he agrees, he's going to do that as well. Ref mode coming out from MarchWaden as well, though, so this is going to be eco from both sides. This is a little odd looking. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm dumb. I was like, why is he going over here? Oh, yeah, he doesn't have ref mode, so he's going to drop off at the carrier. Once ref mode is done, though, I imagine this guy will turn around. Actually, look at that. MarchWaden manually controlling him. It's always fun to see. Skimmer Fab comes out pretty late for him, though. But he just trusts, I suppose, that he's not really going to get pressured too much here. Having the base runner in the middle, though, I've got to say, really feels like a bit of a mistake in that case, though, because you know you don't have field control. Even if your opponent goes SC first, it's standard for him to build a couple of LAVs and send him out to the middle. So, like, this just feels really... This feels a little int, I guess I'm trying to say, right? Yeah, in fact, look at this. He's going to drive to the extraction zone, but he doesn't have any military here, so this is just not ever going to work for him, really. Second PC started fast for MarchWaden, whereas for Moose it's going to be AAV Fab, so Moose has kind of the push pressure here. He's the one who's got to, push onto his opponent. LAV here, finding a nice spot of high ground. Of course, this whole crater is like a big depression, so there is a lot of high ground to be had. Base runner just going to pop that heal to buy a little bit of time, but that one LAV will stop it from extracting, and it can't really get out either. MarchWaden going to start making some skims here to head off to the other side, but yeah, he's not going to save this base runner, that's for sure. AV Fab done for Moose, but he's going to queue up another Sport Cruiser here. And I think that's not unwise, because, like, to get the tech before getting this next Sport Cruiser, because he does want to make sure he doesn't die to, like, Strikecraft or anything like that, you know. He doesn't know what his opponent's doing, because he did retire that probe. But this is just kind of why I don't like the probe retire build terribly much in general, because if you don't have that scouting, you often have to go into less greed than you would like to. Right? You know, like in this case, he has to get the AV Fab first, and then it's almost like you get behind your opponent who's playing, more standard here. Yeah, as I suspected, the Space Runner will go down, though, from MarchWaden, so a little bit of a messy move from him. Scanner gets killed on this side also, but he does have the faster, move up to 3 base, so we'll have to see. Oh, he's queuing up another PC here before tech. Holy goodness. At this point, I'd be worried I would, like, die to air or something, especially because the scanner didn't really land. He didn't catch any info with it. Wow, this is really gutsy from MarchWaden. Getting a third PC here. This is unreal. I think we moved to 3 base about the same time. Yeah, but if you wanted to build salvagers instead, he could have been up on 3 faster than you here. And he's going straight into power reserves, too. This is really interesting. I don't usually see this kind of play from MarchWaden. It's true for now, though. You're actually getting up on 3 base faster at this point, because as you can see, he didn't build any salvagers, right? So he's got the carrier there ready to hold that base, but he doesn't actually have anything on it, so I think he's fleet capped, too, because he's not building anything now. I wouldn't be surprised either. It seems kind of like that number of units. Uh-oh, the Sandstormer stood still there. He could have just killed all these LAVs here. It's a little awkward there. Raiding here, though. Yeah, look, now he's building salvagers. Huh, maybe he just kind of derped on the macro a little bit. That's interesting. However, the big thing for MarchWaden is that he needs to catch that there are actually AVs here. And you can see that's why he's getting missile ship tech, obviously. It's because he knows, like, well, okay, my opponent hasn't shown any tech at all, so it could definitely be air. I'm saying, though, like, if Moose went for air, he might have just died already anyway. I mean, this is 6.5 minutes, or 5.5 minutes in, right? Yeah, you could easily have, like, 5 or 6 strike fighters just kill all the salvagers off that second. So really, really risky here for MarchWaden, but he may get away with it. The thing is just, does he see these AVs? And I don't think he will. These skims just running straight up to the third base, so yeah, he could well lose a lot. Okay, he does actually see him here on the scanner. Alright, that's quite nice for him. He's gonna cancel power 3 to get fleet cap. That's also very wise. Skims jump on in here, though, so they are gonna do the first damage of the game onto that third base location. I don't like prioritizing the support cruiser though, because actually like the salvagers are more valuable to you and they die faster. He probably gets it though, but the thing is there's actually ACs coming out too, so this is very all or nothing, but like, what is the all? It's not really even worth that much, right? Sandstormer here going to be sent back into the fray as well. It's a little bit unfortunate, so he'll go down. He does catch the support cruiser though, so to be fair, he will get this. But here on this side, the AAVs are just going to chunk out these salvagers, and MarchWaden does not have any kind of tech to deal with this, and the carrier is way out of position, so he may just already have lost here, to be honest with you. AV is going to clear out all of those salvagers there. They're going to start looking toward the production cruiser. I mean, what stops this exactly? It's only Sandskimmers that he can use. He's got rating and armor 1, to be fair, but I feel like this is not good. You know what I mean? And this carrier here with a decent amount of power, but there's assault cruisers out, and I think that Moose was getting him in response to the number of Sandskimmers he was seeing, but like, these are gonna chunk the carrier too, so this is really a good move from Moose. Looks like AVs will finally be cleaned up. Attack missile barrage here, a little bit of a miss, but and yeah, we do have rail tech done now as well. So the thing is, rails also with the marked target can really facilitate those ACs to do a lot of damage. And you can see he's gonna replace the carrier over here on the third base, and then bring this support cruiser over there. That's a nice move also. He may want to send one of these ACs back here though, because if he over chases, he might find himself having some trouble with skims, but he does have 2 AVs over there, and with the support cruiser, that means they should be able to hold. And with that smoke, obviously, he'll stop the Sandskimmers from doing any damage to the eco, so this looks fine to me. I think all he really wants to do here is make another SC so that he can make a counter push, because when your opponent does something like this and it doesn't work, you really want to punish it more than anything else. Right, get your carrier unlocked then, start driving out to your opponent's side, and then see if you can just kind of bring the heat to him like he did to you. Sandskimmers here, as I said, they are going to prioritize this AV, but the smoke can keep him alive for so long, and this time when he smokes it, it's also going to be healing. This Tactical Barrage might just end the game. Yeah, look at that. So yeah, as I said, like, MarchWaden just gonna die, basically, to the fact that he really went all or nothing with his carrier power play, and it didn't pay off. Yike. Yeah, so he just goes down at 8 minutes. That's pretty crazy. Well, nicely done by Moose. That was a weird build from MarchWaden, though, just going straight into the third PC. Still didn't have the eco edge though, and I really think he should have. And then no tech. He went into missile batteries, or missile ships that is. But other than that, he just invested everything into the carrier, and it really didn't pan out for him. So hey, look at this. He's playing Coalition now. I do have to say, it's cool when a player has like versatility like this. They can play any faction. A-game is that way. When you have the higher seed against A-game and you have to pick faction first, you're always worried, you know, like, I mean, he could do anything he wants here, so it's really hard for me to, like, if there's some weakness I have in my play, he'll always be able to exploit it, right? Did I like your Conef? In the group stage you played it against someone, right? I can't remember, actually, though. This here, by the way, probably going to be a SC first again from Moose. I think you can get the SC out at 20 though, 29-20, so this is a little bit late for him. You can do a quick drop now though, when he'll have the money. Oh, you play Con F in Game 5, right? We'll see. Oh, jeez. What the? Okay, I guess this was a fake game. Oh, it wasn't patch. Oh. Okay, so that's why there's 2 on Boneyard. I was actually going to ask you about this. Okay. It happens. We've all done that. Hey, and you get rewarded for having the better spawn by it. Still gonna be Coalition versus Saban though. That was pretty cool. You notice he actually dropped the RUs off there before he flipped over onto C's here. Anyway, this looks like it's going to be SC first for sure, though. These guys will all drop at about the same time. He almost has the money for SC already. I think it costs 40... No, it costs 50 RUs, right? So if he drops everyone right now... He's got the money in the bank here. What the... Okay, there we go. Kind of slowed himself down there a bit. He was pretty close to getting that 29-20 timing, but it's going to be 29-10, so it's not bad. MarchWaden's a little bit earlier, though. No base run to retire for him, so you have a slight edge here, but it's pretty academic at this point. Probe coming out from MarchWaden. Actually, before LEV Fab. Uh-oh. No, 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 no. This is one of these things I'm always saying not to do, because if your probe does see something here and you don't have LEV Fab started, it's like... I mean, what do you get for that, right? You're not going to actually get any actionable information with that probe unless you have LEV Fab started already. So, a little bit of a mistake there for MarchWaden. That will mean his LEV Fab is a little bit slower compared to his opponent here, but we would expect to see that probe coming out from Moose in just a moment as well. He may not, though, because this is CVC. He may think that, you know, like, well, my opponent's not really going to bring any heat to me here. So, it'll be interesting to see what he does. I used to play Saban as like my secondary faction, because it's good to have like a main and then like a secondary. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point there too. Anyway, I used to experiment with some funny stuff when I play against Discar, where like I put down an anti-air turret post right here, and then the probe would show up and get killed, and he wouldn't get any info. It was really, really funny. I don't think it was ever really worth it, but like it was kind of a funny idea. I thought, you know, perhaps there was something to that, but... I'd love to see someone else try it, just because it was so funny. And then the other thing I do, of course, is I would, like, toss a bunch of targeting jammers onto these bases that you couldn't open them with a salvager. Just trying to be as annoying as possible. Those were fun times. AV Fab started up for Moose here. And for MarchWaden too, although his is just a little bit behind. But he does have the eco edge here by just a small amount, so... Base runner is still chilling at home, by the way. Almost looks like he wants to set down a turret here, but I don't think he should. Just to fight like one LAV. Better you just use a couple LAVs of your own for this, right? Because the turret is quite expensive, so... Yeah, and he has built a couple of LAVs here. Question is then, can Moose get this extract out? Now the probe sees him, so he knows about this. Wants to make sure he doesn't lose this one to the base runner, actually. Yeah, he is going to catch that. The thing is, though, he can't really send his base runner down to drop a turret, because the Saban base runner will just drop a targeting jammer onto it, so... Moose with that AV tech done, by the way, but MarchWaden going straight into another SC, so he's going to be okay with this extract coming out then. I mean, he has to. Like, there's no way he stops it with this one LAV. Especially if targeting jammer is deployed here, but it's a little bit late for Moose now, so... You hate 12, see it. Probe gonna come up here then to try and scout the main base, but there's still that SC there, so he's gonna end up losing the probe for nothing. But he should have a pretty good grasp about like what's going on in this situation. I think he'll be okay with this. Now, Moose is gonna see that next SC coming out though, so he knows quite well that his opponent is going for that third base. Oh wait, what am I talking about? This is the worst spawn. That's the better spawn. Anyway. I just realized. Base runner here can drop a targeting jammer. Yep, just like that. This is going to be very nice for Moose, so he will beat MarchWaden's LAV there. And MarchWaden has to kind of retreat, but he's kind of stuck inside of his opponent's side of the map here. So what he ought to do then, he's idle here. Uh-oh, don't be idle. This is a good opportunity to get scouting, but he's actually just kind of slept on it, so unfortunately going to lose this LAV for nothing. He should have driven him out to this side. Seen that carrier, seen the AV tech. No, okay, yeah, that is what I'm up against. As it stands, though, MarchWaden has got two AVs on the back line on the main base here. He's got the base runner also that he can set up a turret for. So he's going to be just fine. This AV push is not going to do too much for Moose. Especially as MarchWaden has armor, but Moose does not. Okay, but he's teching it right now, actually, so that's just on time. Let's see these AVs, though. We can't do anything about this. but he does have his support cruiser out, gonna move up to that third base, so their timings are pretty close. Only difference is MarchWaden has got fighter and gunship here, and Moose does not. So that little bit of extra money he had is definitely starting to manifest itself here. Interesting micro battle here, but it looks like it's actually MarchWaden coming out on top. Is this AV really low, down to like 16 HP? It looks like they're actually all gonna get out of here, which is interesting. Oh, driving this guy in? I really don't know. I mean, one volley from a support cruiser, he'll die, right? This guy's really just gotta go back home and heal. And it's gonna be Rail Fab coming out from Moose, but he's also getting Heavy Vehicles Armor 3. Okay, yeah, we do have that AV backing up now. Okay, so actually, like, Moose could potentially win big here if he can get some damage done. The thing is, like, what does MarchWaden's turret do? That's kind of the question. I mean, it's gonna get set down on that main base location. Carrier gonna pop up here as well to try and respond. That turret gonna start hitting for some big damage here. Moose gonna have to smoke to get away from that one. MarchWaden does have a strike fighter done. The thing is, air is already sort of revealed because you can obviously see those targets here. Moose should know that there's air tech here. Interestingly, of course, as I mentioned before, for Coalition, there's no tell that bomber tech is done because the gunship slot is already open. By the way, this very nice from MarchWaden. The turret able to hold off this one AEV from pushing, so. He's got high ground though right now, does Moose. Smoking to be deployed from MarchWaden then to get this guy back out of there. It's very nicely done. But the second artifact comes out from Moose as well, so he's got a lot of artifacts out. But the advantage for MarchWaden is right now, where he has the strike fighters here, and Moose has gone into railgun tech. But right after the strike fighter launches, we finally see missile battery tech coming out. So it looks like Moose kind of didn't realize actually that MarchWaden had air tech. Maybe he didn't see it. It's kind of interesting. Tac bomber tech is done though, actually, and this is where things are going to get a little sticky for Moose. Because even if he gets some missile batteries to deal with the strike fighters, he may still lose to these attack bombers here. Something like your graphics, you never see air tech on here. Really? Like the little target pads, you don't see those? Huh. Because that's always the tell, of course. Oh, A-game gonna rip you for that one. Anyway, bombers are done now. There's two of them. They're gonna start launching as well. There's only like... Wait, there's no missile batteries here for Moose. Uh-oh. Well, yeah, this bomber can do whatever the crap it wants then. Probably it hits the eco here, because obviously the strike fighters can deal with the rails too. Now, it looks like it is going to come in on these railguns here. MarchWaden, by the way, keeping the bomber who'd fired his missile kind of out in the middle is actually kind of a cool move here, because he's trying to get the base runner to shoot at it instead of shooting at his strike fighters. Uh-oh, the strike fighter's overstaying though. There's a missile battery out here. If he comes in for one more pass, he'll die. Okay, getting a little bit lucky, I've got to feel, but he does manage to get out here with all of those units. Does quite a bit of damage then. Rips off two of the CU miners, kills a lot of railguns here. Look at the units lost tab, that should say it all. Oh my gosh, that's a lot worse than I even thought. The only problem though is that, like, you can see MarchWaden floating quite a lot here. He's got tons of CUs. Going for a lot more power reserves than his... Well, I take it back, they're both on 3. But, you know, this can still work for MarchWaden. He just has to be really careful that he doesn't die to these railguns from Moose. And Moose having the extractions too, that's not going to help MarchWaden. He's got a really big CU float though, so yeah, LAVs, that is going to be the right answer. Base Runner also maybe wants to consider sending down more turrets. For now, Bomber's going to try and kill the missile batteries. Uh-oh, he does lose it though, and loses another strike fighter as well. Yeah, he really wanted to launch all these bombers at the same time, get in there and hit them all. So this is a little bit sloppy from him. AVs here not going to be able to do much because obviously the carrier has its own Sunder, not to mention the railguns. So these guys going to fall pretty much instantly. He needs to kill this anti-air like ASAP, right? Launch the other bomber onto it and then bring these guys in. Right now he's going to go for the eco. I mean, even if you get the eco, you don't really win the game, do you? Yeah, he sees it, he's going to come back. Oh no, he's going to commit the bomber onto this base runner. I mean, that's got to be the wrong move. Okay, here we go. Yeah, but if he doesn't kill that anti-air, eventually he's just going to lose all the bombers. Down goes another one. He does get that base runner, which is good. This is just not really good enough, I don't think, though. Power 4 teching for him. Meanwhile, we got Mag Excel coming from Moose. I mean, I've got to say, you prefer the railguns than to the carrier power here. Bit of mark target might be nice for Moose here, because he would, I think, pretty greatly increase the damage of his carrier here. But yeah, game, you're definitely right about that. And MarchWaden's still with a lot of money too. I mean, he could have gone for like BCs here. Well, that maybe be even more greedy. He could have gone for railguns, and that's probably the right choice. Uh-oh, Strike Fighter's just running straight over the missile batteries here. Yike. Yeah, Bomber's gonna take a lot of fire too, so this guy's already dead. I think, right? Yeah, you know, he is gonna go down. Yeah, a bit of questionable air control here, but he really just still does not have anything to deal with these railguns. Not to mention, I think Moose's carrier maybe could even beat him right now, but it's a little hard to say, because Saban carrier is quite squishy. With these rails in tow, though, I mean, he definitely is winning this fight. Oh, look at that. That's pretty sick, too. The turning jammer dropping down on the, Oh, I guess the turret can clear it out, though. Power 5 coming out from MarchWaden now. Holy goodness. I mean, okay, if he does get to the nuke, he can maybe kill all of this, right? But I just don't think that ever happens, realistically. These railguns could definitely do with being a little further back. And again, mark target would be really nice. You just pop that on one of these guys. But, yeah, there's no way MarchWaden's carrier survives to power 5, so he's definitely going to go down here. I could kind of see a world where he still won this if Moose made a mistake, but he'd have to make a mistake, right? And that last shot from this railgun is going to take it out. Actually, this guy's not the one who got the kill, so... Interesting. But that is going to be Moose taking this game as well, so... So far, he hasn't lost yet. I think that, like, the bombers can work there, but you've really got to... The bombers can work there, but you've really got to be careful with it, right? Because, like... How do I say this properly? If the bombers don't kill the anti-air, then every run that they make, they have a chance of dying, basically. That's kind of what I'm thinking, right? And the Strike Fighter is, of course, going to be useless as well, because obviously, if that anti-air is there, it's always going to get kills on the Strike Fighters. And eventually, you know, you just won't have any left, right? They have to kill the railguns, because that's like your big... That's your big threat. So you need to get rid of that anti-air then, so that the bombers can come in over and over again to get those kills on the railguns. Because otherwise... Like, he went back to kill a base runner, like, it seems good, but then, you know, well, you die, so it's not really worth much to stop that extract, right? I think it can still work in that kind of scenario, but not the way that MarchWaden had used it. Don't mean to take anything away from Moose, though, by the way, because, like, obviously, it's not terribly easy to beat bombers when you only have missile batteries, so it was a well-played game from him as well. I think maybe that's true, but... I mean, the thing is always that, like, if you can kill those railguns, sometimes you open up windows for your carrier to come in and do a lot of work for you. And, you know, if the bombers don't die as well, you're always going to have that ability to use them against the carrier, which will allow you to win carrier fights really nicely. Yeah, well, the thing is, if you build railguns and your opponent's on top of you, I think you can just kill them right away with that carrier. So I don't know. I mean, definitely the way MarchWaden had been using it was not proper, but I think that... I think used properly, it maybe could still have won that game, but I'm not really sure. Because, like, my first thought when I saw him having missile batteries coming out, or you, that is, having missile batteries coming out, I was like, oh, well, this is no good, he's gonna die to bombers here, but... Yeah, that did not turn out the way that I was expecting. MarchWaden, by the way, with the support cruiser coming out here, this is quite bad. I'm not gonna lie, I really hate this. I talk about how going for a support cruiser after getting LAV fab is bad, but like going for a support cruiser after getting AV fab is just like even worse by a huge margin. And this is not even particularly fast AVs. So this is really a bad build for MarchWaden. This is kind of uncharacteristic of him. I never see him do stuff like this. As a result, Moose just gonna have the eco lead, and March has the tech lead by like 40 seconds. That's like almost nothing. So I really hate this. This is gonna give Moose a free extraction as well, by the way, so that's pretty nice for him too. Straight into ACs, okay. Again though, you'll get here faster if you just build that SC first, right? That being said though, ACs are very good on this map, so he can maybe make something work here, but... Trust me, I used to be a big AC rusher myself. I had this build I would do on the shallows all the time, where I'd try and get 2 ACs out and then follow up with air. Turret here from MarchWaden, gonna try and secure his extraction. There are still more LAVs, but this may actually be enough. Actually, look at this though. This Space Runner could come in here and drop the targeting jammer in. I think for Moose, that would definitely be worth it. Base Runners with an artifact and under a targeting jammer move like molasses. It's crazy. But he's not going to go for it, so these LEDs might actually honestly still be enough to stop it, but I'm not sure. If he gets high ground here, maybe? He leaves the high ground, though. Looks like he's going for this one. Actually, I'm not really sure how he doesn't have high ground here. Yeah, he's looking for it, but he can't find it. So, that artifact didn't come out, though. AC Fab almost done, though. Only about 7 seconds left. This LEV here giving really good scouting info, though. He's able to see pretty much everything on that base. And he'll know in just a moment, I think, that those ACs are coming. Like, because once he builds them, I gotta imagine this LEV is gonna catch them, so... Base Runner does get destroyed. Turret gonna stop these LEVs from coming in on the back line, but they don't really need to. And MarchWaden finally queuing up that AC. Actually, this AV might be able to come in and hit, though. Like, before that AC is done. Anyway, one of these Base Runners that I'd really love to see come over here and drop a targeting jammer onto that turret, because if he does that, I mean, he can push it down with anything, so... And MarchWaden really with kind of nothing, right? Like, he's got 1 AC on the queue, but he has no military other than that. So this AV should be able to do damage by the time he gets there. And this extraction from Moose is starting to get a little bit out of hand. Yep, so AV sure enough starting to hit on the main base, and MarchWaden really needs to pull his carrier back here. He wants to conglomerate onto one base in this kind of a situation. This kind of a situation. Otherwise, he's gonna really lose. Well, he's gonna lose a lot of eco, I guess. This is not great. Yeah, when salvage are going down there. He'll lose a second in just a moment, you'd rather expect. Yep. And he may actually lose this logistics module too, that might be kind of nice. Smoke is deployed on these AVs to try and get him out of here. He's got 2 smokes, of course. He actually can get out, but I think it's best he stays, yep, for that logistics module. Second smoke is here. Now that turret is still there. Again, it would be really nice if this Base Runner could come over and drop a targeting jammer on it, but doesn't seem to have any such intention, so these AVs are going to be forfeit. But in the meantime, here he comes over with another backstab with these AVs. And MarchWaden, I know, is probably building another AC here, but like he doesn't have it yet, so this is still going to hit hard. He may even kill that support cruiser, which at this point I'd say maybe this is a good call. Salvager's going down first, though, I always am a fan of, because obviously, as I said before, they're actually more valuable than that support cruiser. Both in terms of, like, build time and in terms of money, so... Yeah, this is just not panning out for MarchWaden at all. These AVs are just going to run all over him. You lose another logistics module here. That's going to start to hurt at this point, because he's definitely at fleet capacity. He does have another assault cruiser out, though. But Moose, meanwhile, I would be surprised if he's not, yep, expanding onto 3 base. That's exactly what he ought to do. And Railgun's coming out, too. It's going to be a nice answer to these assault cruisers. He could even do air here. But assault cruisers obviously can get that anti-air upgrade, so he may not want to go into that. Not like MarchWaden has got the money for that, necessarily, but, you know. It is an option for him, so Moose is going to want to watch out for that. Because air is such a common follow-up to, yeah, because air is just such a common follow-up to any kind of, like, successful eco attack, I wouldn't be terribly surprised if MarchWaden chose to go for this, but... Heavy Vehicles 3 coming out, by the way. This is great for the AVs, but it's obviously going to do wonders for those railguns, too. And assault cruisers relatively rapid fire units, although they do 50 damage per shot, but those armor upgrades are not ineffective for them. Mark target would be really nice here, by the way. Uh-oh. Okay, he is actually going to kill that turret, but he is going to lose the AV as well. Heavy Vehicles 3 is done now, though, for Moose. And he has a targeting jammer to drop here when the ACs try to pass the choke point. So I'd like to see that right now. Oh dear, where's the targeting jammer? Okay, there it is. Catches the AC. This carrier, by the way, has a lot of power. I mean, that's another thing you gotta realize, because he's gotten 3 extracts by now. Yeah, in fact, he will probably, I think, kill this AC. Oh, just barely not. He could have gotten it. Oh! Oh, yes! He does catch the AC. Okay, that's really big for him now. MarchWaden thinking he has a window here, but there's still smoke, so, like, he can get away from this, can Moose. He's actually not gonna commit the smoke, though. But look at this, an ALM popping out here to try and actually trap this this assault cruiser. That's fair play, he may get it, because if he uses the heal ability, this AV will just kill it on its own. Yeah, these rails are almost in range. I think this is a dead AC we're looking at, although it may be able to boost out with the overcharge. He's going to use it immediately. Oh man, it gets out, okay, but just barely. That was close. I mean, that could have been pretty bad for him as well. Like, these ACs are good units, especially against this composition in particular, but it's just too little too late. Like, Moose knows, like, yeah, I know that these ACs are pretty good units even against what I'm building, but he doesn't have enough. He doesn't have them fast enough. I can make this work, and he's right. It's a weird build for MarchWaden. It's very, very greedy. This AC gonna have to pop the heal now. Yep, there it goes, and the carrier heal gonna bring it back up to full health really, really quickly. But I mean, we're looking at game point here, as far as like artifacts go. So MarchWaden has to deal with this immediately, right? I mean, this would be the game-winning artifact here if this one gets out. So yeah, in that vein, he's gonna start moving the ACs out through this choke point. But again, we can have targeting jammer problems here, and in fact, there's 2 of them available now. So this could be even worse than last time, and MarchWaden has to be so careful about that. AC anti-air is still, I think, a pretty good call here. Oh no, he used the heal. I've done that before, I know how that feels. Oh, he did it again! Oh no! Oh, MarchWaden. I have so much empathy for this man right now. Oh dear, one of them gonna go down already. Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts exactly, Moose. This AC gonna fall as well, by the way, because these AVs, using that Sunder from the carrier, they're gonna actually really chunk it. Oh, that is crippling. Remember, this is the game-winning artifact right here, so Moose in a really good spot to win, and I was actually saying he should use that other targeting jammer, but actually saving it for this, really, really nice, because then he can use it here if he comes around the bend. MarchWaden seems to agree. He's gonna choose to surrender there. Oh man, that is so triggering when you use the heal ability instead of the missile barrage or the overcharge or anything like that. Oh. This is why, okay, I'm actually gonna say, I always play DOK with my light on. Like in my room, right? Because like if the keyboard is dark, I'll hit like Y or U or something instead of like what I'm going for. It's like when I'm quick dropping, I'll hit U, like I want to hit U, but I'll hit I or Y instead. Because it's far away, right, from where my left hand stands. Uh-oh, is this one bad? Last game here. Gonna be on Kartoba. And yeah, here we go. Moose is playing as Conf this time. Now, I don't know if I've seen this more than like 2 or 3 times for Moose to play Conf, right? So, I'll be interested to see what he brings to this faction. Obviously, as you know, Galzian always, typically I'd say a little bit harder to play as far as like build orders go. It's very easy to accidentally die as them, especially against Coalition. Well, no, I should say especially against other Galzian, but... MarchWaden here, by the way, looks like he's going for SC first. He's going to pull that base printer retire, though. As I've said before, it's not exactly my favorite thing, but, like, he's going to get a really nice timing here at about 25. So, pretty fast SC for him. As for Moose, we have Sandskimmer Fab coming out, but he keeps onto this base burner here, so looks like we're going to have some fun base burner shenanigans coming out. LAV Fab now, starting for MarchWaden. That is what he ought to do. Remember though, of course, like he doesn't have that base burner, so his scouting is always going to be a little bit delayed here. And he also won't have that turret to defend, which could be really, really nice if he gets rushed here. This might be rails. You can see, obviously, Moose with a lot of RUs here. Oh my gosh. Don't... If he goes for ref mode, I swear, I'm gonna... Okay, no, he is building a skin, right? Yeah, he should just move out. This is not the kind of game where you want to go for refinery tech. Okay, yeah, he is moving. It's my least favorite thing, you know, when somebody goes for a Sandskimmer Fab and then goes into ref mode. It's like, no. You don't do that. Power 1 coming up from March. Holy goodness. Like, that's so blind, you know what I mean? He's actually going to get away with it this time because it's kind of what he needs, but it's really weird to see people getting Power 1 like that. Like you expect new players to do this, right? But you don't expect someone like MarchWaden to do that, but... I mean, if this is some kind of like 5 million IQ call, he's right, because he does need it for the defense here. Railgun tech ready to be quicked on if he wants it. And I would actually, yeah, okay, there we go. I think generally, like, because Coalition can do this kind of thing where they're just going SC first and they don't really build army, you're not going to punish very well unless you get Railfab started immediately. That's why I've always been doing this. And then you still need to get a second PC, because obviously that production upgrade comes out, which is on the queue already, as you can see from MarchWaden. You may run into problems like that, but... yeah, I don't know, like, if you just go for a second PC fast, like, I think sometimes Coalition can just get away with turtling on 2 base, they have a couple AVs to defend them, by the time your rails come out, they've got rails too, and they've been on 2 base for so long, they just have an eco lead. No turret, though, again, for MarchWaden, so this is maybe a place where Moose could win, but he's definitely not wanting to take this trade under the support cruiser. The thing about Rail Rush is that if you ever lose the Strikecraft superiority, it's game over, like, instantly for you, so really, really rough for him if he loses that. This PC really getting stuck in, by the way. This is a little bit risky for him, because obviously, if he's, you know, again, like, if he takes one bad trade, he can't really stall for time without Assault Rail like he'd like to. So he may just lose if he takes a bad trade here, but... Assault Rail is out, though. And the Skins want to capitalize on this lead here. He is going to catch 2 LAVs for 1, but he doesn't want to push too far in, because now he's under the SC. Ooh, that was really close. That second PC really needs to be coming out here, but he's going for Sandskimmer Armor instead. Yeah, you really can't get away with this. If you go for Sandskimmer Armor tech like that, like, look how trapped his PC is right now. These LAVs, like, he can tank this Assault Rail for a bit on that Sport Cruiser, and eventually these LAVs are just going to straight out kill him. MarchWaden with a bit of questionable micro here, though. Doesn't finish any of the kills. No, MarchWaden, what are you doing? He wants to overcommit onto this IR. That's really bad. He could have had 2 Sandskimmers for, like, almost nothing there, but instead he gets nothing for 2 LAVs. That's really not what MarchWaden wanted to do. Also, you gotta realize this hill can be, like, climbed over, and I think this SC would be safe. Assault Pack coming out from him, though. He does have armor, too. And for Moose, that second PC just nowhere in sight, and he's building a heavy rail. That's really not what he needs. What the heck? This support cruiser is going to drive toward the assault rails. Well, I was going to say, I don't know about this, but actually it's true. If he gets the Strikecraft superiority, he wins the game here. He's actually going to commit on that heavy because he thinks it's an assault rail. Really wants to bring these guys into the fray, but the thing is, if he wins this fight, he wins the game. So maybe this is actually good for MarchWaden. That's a really interesting move. Blast drones. Oh! Ouch. They slice off a bunch of these salvagers here. But at this point, MarchWaden can start building another sport. Oh, he's already got it. Wow. Yeah, so my opinion on moving that sport cruiser up has flipped entirely almost instantly here. This actually was a really nice move from him. Basically to say, hey, look, if I get that kill, it's game over. So, like, I can build another SC, that's fine. You can't really afford to lose this PC. This is cool. And the PC is going to go down for Moose here. Chonk. There's one skim left. I don't think MarchWaden really cares too much, because, like, he obviously He could kill it if he likes, though, but it's not going to do a whole lot for Moose. The thing is, he'd really like to stop this extract here, but he's not bringing the LAVs out to it. This, I think, is a mistake, because if he brings these LAVs out here to stop that extract, Moose is only going to be on 2 artifacts, which would be a lot better for MarchWaden here. Eventually, in other words, he has to deal with that base runner. Might as well do it now before he gets to 3. Because what he wants to do now is bring these LAVs up here and bring the fight to Moose. Definitely doesn't want to sit idle like this. He wants to be out there on the field. But he also needs to stop that extract eventually. This is kind of Moose's only way into the game, right? Is if MarchWaden kind of derps around like this. Because right now, that second PC is actually also vulnerable to being killed. I like this from Moose, actually. He's trying to power up the missiles so that even if he changes the power system, he'll have 3 in the bay. Second PC on the way for him now. Again, MarchWaden really wants to already be there, but he is finally giving a move order out to that side of the field. That, and he wants to get another support cruiser and get up onto 3 base. That's got to be the play here. But vehicle damage 2 for the AVs, that's going to be really nice as well. Now, PC is out, though. It's building an assault ship, but Moose really wants to be careful here. He could easily lose this to the LAVs. Oh, okay. Yeah. MarchWaden playing with my mind there a little bit, making me think he's not actually going to kill these PCs as they come out, but he is. Oh wow! What a nice missile shot from Moose, though. That was very predictive. Still, though, PC goes down. Moose really can't afford to have that one out here. Needs to be at the carrier where it can stay safe. And that assault ship also not able to come out. MarchWaden just gonna boost out of there. He has killed another PC. But again, look at this. He's gonna let his opponent get up onto 4 artifacts. I mean, you've got to deal with this eventually. Bring those LAVs over here for the love of lovingness. Because if he lets this get out, I mean, this is almost just getting ridiculous now. He could lose this game that he has no business losing. In fact, you know what I wouldn't hate here? Definitely not MagXL. I wouldn't hate getting another support cruiser and then driving out with the carrier out to the front line. He's playing a bit of a high-stakes game here, though, because these blast drones, if they kill the LAVs, they might be able to secure this extract for him. But boost's going to be used once again. Artifact is going to be denied away from Moose here. 1 blast drone goes down, that means there's really not any threat of killing Eco anymore. And indeed, the support cruiser, I think, will finish it off. Yeah, so down it goes. Double base runner for MarchWaden. I know, I am a fan of that. But yeah, support cruiser and then moving out. Yeah, look at that, support cruiser. And then moving the carrier out is going to be really powerful if it wants to go for that. So anyway, I guess in synopsis, I'd say, like, if you retire the base runner, you're rarely actually vulnerable to a rail rush, but rail rush is one of these builds that, like, people will complain if it gets too strong, but sometimes it feels like I'm the only one who actually does it, you know what I mean? It's like most players don't really want to try for the rail rush. This PC gonna go down, by the way. This is worth it for MarchWaden to sack the LAVs to kill a PC like that. It's worth it because, obviously, if he can get, like, PC kills like that, he always keeps his opponent down. He never is gonna be able to get up and, like, stabilize the situation. So, even losing all those LAVs, that is definitely worth it. Double extract on the way now, by the way, for MarchWaden. Double support cruiser was built too, so he can actually fill out the space as well, but I think he doesn't need to. He should probably just drive out here with this carrier, especially because these artifacts might not get out if he just, like, drives them straight in. Yeah, this is extraordinarily lazy for MarchWaden. Just bring these guys back home for now, like, don't lose them for nothing. There's no reason you gotta do that. Fighter and gunship tech coming out from MarchWaden now. Now, I like this call too, though. Fighter and gunship gonna be pretty nice. Just because your opponent, again, he doesn't have anything, right? He's finally getting ref mode here, but, yeah, fighter and gunship obviously can snowball leads quite effectively. He shouldn't even need it, though, right? Because, like, if he had moved out that carrier when I said, he probably would be already kind of winning, but this is still, you know, it's a good tech. It's still gonna get him there, so... Railguns are out now, by the way, from MarchWaden. Gonna stop these assault ships from doing anything to these base runners here, so that's quite nice to see. Do we have armor upgrades on them, by the way? Yeah, just armor 1. Fighter and gunship tech finished now. And it's actually going to be double gunship for MarchWaden. That's pretty fun. He actually has that 3rd production upgrade though, so he can keep making railguns too. He's got like he's got a production slot free for it. I think he's still letting his opponent get further back into the game than he should. Right? I still think MarchWaden needs to be faster about this this play here, but like he's definitely still doing okay. I mean, this would be his game to lose, right? Manages to kill one of those assault ships as well. This hill here is a really interesting one. We almost never see it come into play. Like, look how freaking tall it is. Triple extract coming out from MarchWaden now. He's actually carrier blocking one of his base runners, which is a touch awkward, but... Double gunship gonna launch now, though. This should be on the salvagers. Now, he can lose railguns if he's not careful here. Again, if he would have kept that 3rd artifact from extracting, this would have been a lot better for him. But he is going to chunk out that 2nd base pretty much entirely right here. And his opponent should just have more power than him, guaranteed, right? He needs to tech power 3 here to MarchWaden, but he actually loses all the railguns. That doesn't feel great. Brings the scoreline to 3-3 though. So his opponent will have more power though if he doesn't just tech this. Okay, there we go. He's gonna get that one up. And then 1 in armor, gonna be nice, yep. There is 1 assault ship over here, but it's not gonna really be able to do too much damage, eh? And when it comes to fighting a Con F carrier, what you always want to do, of course, is to get right up on top of it. It's actually got quite a lot of HP, I didn't quite realize that, but if you get right up on top of this carrier where he can't use his missile system anymore, a huge source of DPS for him goes away. And for Coalition, you have the armor. Gaussian has got no such thing, so that usually means that you'll beat this carrier. There's actually a heavy rail out, though, for Moose. I hadn't noticed this. But MarchWaden can kill it with his strike fighters if he really wants to, and he should, because... Or actually, it looks like the railguns can handle this job, too. Well, not quite. Yeah, in that case, I'd launch the strike fighters and kill that thing off, because this is obviously going to be problems for you. Also, you gotta power up the armor, my man. Oh dear, he's... Okay, yeah, there we go. He's gonna power up that system eventually. I think at this point, though, he just wants to spam support cruisers rather than getting more railguns. And you can see Moose now trying to power up the speed so you can just get out of here. He kind of knows, actually, that... Amazingly, he's got somewhat of a better army on the field right now. But okay, yeah, there we go. So the strike fighters are going to clear out that heavy railgun. And the gunship's actually hitting the carrier. It's a little funny. MarchWaden, what you standing still for? Keep moving out there. This game's not over yet. Power 4 on the way for him, though. I've got to say, like, for having beaten a rail rush, this is getting uncomfortably close. If you kill that PC from your opponent, guaranteed you should always win the game, 100%. If you don't, you've made a huge mistake. So it makes me a little nervous that MarchWaden is, like, possibly throwing here. Oh, jeez. Could he really lose this? He can't, can he? He's got the game-winning artifact in hand, too. Oh, come on. Golly, he's really playing with this. I mean, you could... Okay, he just has to buy time. At this point, just put power into the armor and just try and get out of here. Oh, the base runner is actually going to get denied here. He's not even going to get this extract out. No, MarchWaden, please. Please, don't, not like this. He goes down to the heavy rail. No. What a throw! Oh, MarchWaden. How did you lose this? Oh, no. Oh, he's gonna be kicking himself for that one. Oh, jeez. That's messy. That is messy. Oh well, that's all I had planned for stream today, so thanks guys for tuning in. Learn how to do carrier fights, because sometimes you can throw. Like, when I said this game's not over yet, I was thinking, like, should I even say this? This game is so over, like... Certainly MarchWaden wins this. Anyway, thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time.